The Detroit Pistons somehow beat a fully strength Denver Nuggets team tonight, 110-108, and they did so by closing with unfamiliar faces, I should say, in a normal closing lineup. Did Dwane Casey do the right thing? We're going to talk about that in today's episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I'm your host, Kuka Hill. You can find me over on Twitter at Kuka Hill. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, hit that subscribe button, or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. So the Detroit Pistons somehow, some way get their first road win of the season, avoid a 7-game losing streak, get their first win on the Western road trip against the Denver Nuggets, a fully loaded Denver Nuggets team. A Denver Nuggets team that had Nikola Jokic healthy, Michael Porter Jr. healthy, Aaron Gordon healthy, KCP healthy, Jamal Murray healthy, Bruce Brown healthy, and they somehow beat this team. I don't know how the hell they did it, but they did it, man. They absolutely did it. But we're going to talk about some of the other things that happened throughout the game. But what I want to talk about first is Dwane Casey's decision to close with who he closed with, and was it the right move? So the Detroit Pistons were up by 10 in this fourth quarter, and they were being led at that point earlier in the fourth quarter. They were being led by their bench unit of Corey Joseph, Kevin Knox, Alec Burks, Jalen Duren, and Hamidou Diallo. And they had extended that lead to 11 points over the Denver Nuggets. Now, the Denver Nuggets then brought back in their starters. So it was the Denver Nuggets starters versus the Detroit Pistons bench. Now, just looking at it on paper, you know how that should go. They got the reigning 2-time MVP on their team. They got a really good squad. Jamal Murray, obviously, you get it. So you'd think that it would go a bad way for the Detroit Pistons, but it actually didn't. The bench was holding their own a little bit. I believe the Denver Nuggets got the lead down to 8, but the Pistons bench was still fighting back, and they were holding their own. And then at a point, Dwane Casey decided to take Alec Burks and Corey Joseph out the game and bring back Killian Hayes and Jaden Ivey. He also brought back Bojan Bogdanovic, but he kept Kevin Knox and Jalen Duren in that game. At the 3-minute mark of this game against the Denver Nuggets, the Nuggets had cut this lead down, and Dwane Casey decided to make a decision with 3 minutes left in this game, and the Detroit Pistons this is during a Bojan Bogdanovic free throw, where the Pistons are now down or up 3 points. He took out Jaden Ivey and Killian Hayes and brought in Corey Joseph and Alec Burks, and they decided to close with Corey Joseph, Alec Burks, Bojan Bogdanovic, Kevin Knox, and Jalen Duren. Now, is this the right move? As soon as this game ended, I saw on Twitter, saw in the community, already saw all the Pistons fans, everyone's arguing about it. Is it worth it closing with with a bunch of old guys? If you're going to get the win, does it matter if it's with the old guys, or should you be only wanting to get some wins if it's because of the young guys? What does winning with the old guys matter at all? So it's probably still going on right now when I'm recording this. It was getting heated. So I wanted to open up the podcast with my opinion on this. So as a fan, I don't want to see the Detroit Pistons win a game because of 3 30-plus-year-olds on the team on the floor. I feel like any fan, I feel like most fans would be being dishonest if they said that's how they want to see their team win the game right now in this phase of the rebuild, restoration, whatever you want to call it. So was I happy to see the fact that they were closing with those guys instead of Killian Hayes and Jaden Ivey? No, I was not happy about seeing that. I would rather see our young guys go out there, struggle, and if they lose the game because of it, they lose the game. If they win, okay, they win with the young guys. But I was not a fan of seeing 3+ 30-year-olds out there and them being the reason, or asking them to be the reason why they win instead of having the young guys be the reason why they win. That's me speaking from a fan side. Removing fandom from it, it still is questionable because The one argument will be that you should let your young guys go through this kind of thing. They were struggling. They had turned the ball over. You should let them fight through this kind of thing, experience this kind of thing, see them cause a loss, be the reason why a loss happened because they weren't able to take care of the ball and know how it feels and know what they need to do to correct it next time. That's that argument. The other argument that people will make is that you can't reward them for turning the ball over, and in a critical time like that, you shouldn't reward them with continuing giving them minutes. I see both sides of that. I tend to lean more towards the let them play through it and let them experience it, and if they lose because of it, let them carry that on their shoulders. However, there's another part of this that I think plays a major part in it and why I can't be too mad at this decision. One, because they won. They won. You really can't question. You can question it, but you can't get too mad about a win. Like, where are we at right now? We don't need to be getting mad about a win right now. It's November 22nd. Come on. But outside of that, the other argument would be the Pistons are on a 6-game losing streak. They have not won a game on this Western road trip. The schedule is getting harder and harder and harder, like we talked about in the last podcast. I said in the last podcast that it's realistic. You could be looking at this team possibly having a 10-plus game losing streak with who they have in front of them, playing without Stu, Sadiq, and Kay Cunningham. You could see a long losing streak coming. So with you already being on a 6-game losing streak, you having an opportunity to stop that losing streak against Denver and knowing that if you don't get this win against Denver in a game that they're giving you, Denver's clearly way better team, but they're not playing up to their standards and they're giving you this game. If you don't take advantage of that, you may not get another game where a way better team is going to give you a game like that. You may not get that chance again, and you may be looking at a really bad losing streak. So Dwane Casey, instead of letting his young guys possibly lose it, maybe they would have won it still, but instead of letting the young guys lose it by being inexperienced and turning the ball over, he brought in his vets to secure a win that I'm sure he felt like the locker room needed to have, the players needed to have, the coaching staff, front office, fan base. He felt like everyone needed to have, because if they didn't get this one, who knows when they were going to get one. And like I said earlier, I don't want to see them closing with 30-plus-year-olds. I'd rather see them lose with the young guys and win because of the young guys rather than see that. I can't refute that. I can't refute that argument. Because whether you're in a restore, rebuild, tank, whatever you want to call it, 10-plus game losing streak is tough to handle in a locker room nonetheless, whatever you're a part of. It's hard to stomach that. It can do some things to the morale. So I'm sure, again, like I said, Dwane Casey knows who they have upcoming. He knows this chance might not have shown up again, and they needed this win. So they don't have to in a week from now. In a week from now, they can look at a 3-game losing streak, a 4-game losing streak, 5-game, whatever, instead of looking at a 11-game losing streak, 12-game losing streak, 13. That will feel much better. It may not make any kind of difference. We'll still look at it like, oh, you only won one of the last 15 games or whatever. But it'll feel different to be able to say for the players, for the team, the coaching staff to be like, listen, it's a 4-game losing streak. We're not on an 11-game losing streak. Like, those two things would be completely different, and the things that would be getting talked about would be different, I feel like. So I can understand why Dwane Casey did it, although I can say that it's not something I would have done. I would have rather lost with my young guys and take the chance at losing with my young guys and let that be the case. But can't get too mad at that, because it is what it is. They got to win. And we can't be too mad about a win in November. So I guess we just celebrate this one. Happy the Pistons got a win and we're able to beat. Because, look, and this is the last thing I'll say about it. They may not have closed with the young guys. They closed with Jalen Duren. But they didn't close with Jaden Ivey and Killian Hayes. But those guys were a part of the team getting the big lead in the first place, being competitive with this team. Killian Hayes had a nice game. Jaden Ivey struggled, but even just his presence and being able to get to the rim, that helped. So everyone played a part in getting them to the point of even being competitive in the closing minutes. So I guess you can say you can be happy about that point, that, yeah, they didn't close, but they played a part in this win nonetheless. So I guess that's another way you can look at it. But, yeah, definitely not something I probably would have done, but I can understand it at this point and where they were. So let me know what your guys' thoughts on that, though. I know it's going to be a heated conversation in the comment section down below or over on Twitter at Kuka Hill. When we come back, should the Detroit Pistons just start Jalen Duren? Are they wasting time starting Marvin Bagley right now in Stu's absence? Should they just go ahead and start Jalen Duren? We'll talk about that when we come back. But first, I got to tell you guys about one of our sponsors, Turo. Turo is the world's largest car-sharing marketplace. With Turo, you can book any car that you want, wherever you want it, from a community of local hosts. Browse a huge selection of vehicles with just about any occasion or budget across the US, the UK, Canada, and coming soon to Australia. Book a spacious SUV or minivan for a family road trip. Get a classic or luxury car for a special event, birthday, holiday, or even prom. Find an affordable economy cars if you're on a budget and just need to get from point A to point B. Test drive that new electric vehicle that you've had your eye on to see how it fits into your everyday life. Many Turo hosts can even deliver the car right to you. Every trip is backed by liability insurance. Terms and conditions and exclusions apply. Forget boring rental cars and find your drive at Turo.com. Again, many Turo hosts can simply deliver the car right to you, and you can look at any car out there that can fit your budget and whatever occasion you need one for. You can find it over at Turo.com. Terms and conditions, exclusions apply. Forget the boring rental cars and find your nice drive at Turo.com. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, hit that subscribe button, or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. I would really appreciate either or. The Detroit Pistons started Marvin Bagley against Nikola Jokic, and he had the worst plus minus on the team in this game. He went 7 of 8 from the field. He had 14 points. But I will say, like I say all the time, game-to-game plus minus, it's very noisy, and it can definitely misrepresent the kind of game someone had. That's why you should watch the game, and if it matches your eye test, then you can determine that, whatever. I feel like that minus 12 matches my eye test. And it begs the question, should the Pistons just start Jalen Duren, who had the team high plus minus in plus 14, and that also matched my eye test? Should they just start Jalen Duren? My answer, 100%. They should just start Jalen Duren right now. He's better than Marvin Bagley. I think he's already better than Marvin Bagley. And he provides what the Pistons need, I feel like, more than Marvin Bagley in Isaiah Stewart's absence. Let me just give you, this is an easy one right here, just my first point in this argument. Marvin Bagley played 22 minutes. He had 3 rebounds. Jalen Duren played 25 minutes. He had 7 rebounds. You want to know who had more rebounds than both of them? Kevin Knox. Kevin Knox had 8 rebounds. And we're going to talk about Kevin Knox a little bit later. I want to give a lot of credit to him. And we talked about in the last podcast that he should continue to get more minutes. And he definitely should keep getting minutes even moving forward when guys get healthy. I think he should take Diallo's spot in the rotation if they're going to go 10-man deep. But either way, him having more rebounds than both your big guys can't happen. Can't happen. And Marvin Bagley only having 3 rebounds should never, ever, ever happen. Here's the guys that had more rebounds than Marvin Bagley. Bojan Bogdanovic, who had 9 rebounds. We talked about in the last podcast that if you're not going to get rebounds, you got to get out. He went on the glass. He's been a terrible rebounder this year, but he got on the glass today. He got on the glass and he hustled out there. So he bodied down there. He had 9 of them. Give him his respect there. Bojan had more. Jaden Ivey had more. Jalen Duren had more. And Kevin Knox had more. Players like Corey Joseph, Diallo, Isaiah Livers only had 1 less rebound than Marvin Bagley. That's unacceptable. You cannot have that from your starting center. You just can't. And that is primarily the reason for his minus 12 and why they were bad with him on the floor. Because he just does not secure rebounds. And there was multiple occasions in the first half, and I think this is why, if you want to ask me my honest opinion, I think this is why you did not see much of him in the second half. Is because in the first half, there was multiple times when he was switched out on Jamal Murray or Bones Highland or whatever on the perimeter. They take a shot, they miss, and he's leaking out. And the guard that he was guarding was crashing the glass before he did. And they got offensive rebound because of it. If you're the only big on the floor, and he knows Marvin Bagley's not stupid. He knows he's the only big guy on the floor. You knowing that your team is at a disadvantage because you have some bigs out, you have a wing out, you guys aren't that big, and you're going against Nikola Jokic and Aaron Gordon, you have to know that they need you on that glass. They don't need you leaking out to try to get a breakaway dunk while you leave Killian Hayes and Jaden Ivey down low to try to scramble with Nikola Jokic and Aaron Gordon to get a rebound. And there's no reason ever that the guard that you were defending should beat you to the glass to get a rebound. That happened so many times in the first half. And then he barely played in the second half. I seriously believe that's why. That's why he did it, because he was not a factor on the glass. Yes, he had 14 points. Marvin Bagley is a good scorer around the basket. You give him the ball around the basket, he'll score the point. He'll score the basketball. He'll be efficient around the basket. Unfortunately, there's other things that come into play with the game of basketball, like playing defense, which he did not do a good job on. Nikola Jokic, even a little bit. And no one does a good job on Nikola Jokic. He's a reigning 2-time MVP. But I felt like it was just way too easy with Marvin Bagley. And I feel like Jalen Duren gave him more of a problem. Now, Jokic still had 12 of 16 with 31 points. And no one really stopped him. But I feel like Duren at least made it a little bit tougher on him. Bagley just felt like it was way too easy. Bagley's not a good defender. He's a bad defender. He's not a good rebounder. He doesn't crash the glass. He doesn't play strong around the basket when it comes to rebounding. And that, as we talked about in the last podcast, we dove into the numbers about why their defense is bad. That is why their defense is so horrific, because they don't have someone cleaning up the glass. They don't have someone swallowing up the misses. Instead, teams are getting second, third, fourth chances, and they're all around the basket. If you get offensive rebound, you're likely around the basket. And that's why their defense has been so bad. So you got to start Jalen Duren. Dwane Casey came up before the game and says he looks at Jalen Duren as a starter, not a bench player. Okay, then start him. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? He's outplaying Marvin Bagley in every game they've played. He's outplayed him. It's just as simple as that. He's a better rim protector. He's a better rebounder. He's a much better screener. He's a much better passer in the short roll from the high post. He had a few backdoor passes, a few kickout passes today that Marvin Bagley, I don't think I've ever seen him make in his entire career. Jalen Duren, I think at this point already is a better basketball player than Marvin Bagley. Again, Marvin Bagley is probably the more efficient player around the basket. He's really good around the basket. He can catch lobs. He can finish around the basket. That's what he does best. And he can score quickly. But if you can't bring anything else to the table and you're an active negative on the defensive end for a team, again, this he could maybe get away with. He would get away with this more if Stu was healthy, which is what they were probably trying to do. It looked like that's what they were going to do, but then Stu got hurt. So you could get away, try to hide him in his deficiencies if you're playing him with another big who can make up for his deficiencies. You don't have that right now. So starting him makes no sense. They know why they started him with Stu, because Stu makes up for everything he can't do. So now that Stu's out, them thinking that you can just move him down to the 5 and think all his deficiencies just go away. It's crazy. It's not going to go away. And Jalen Duren does everything that Isaiah Stewart did at the 5 that you need to replace. And that's why the team has been better with him on the floor in the last few games without Isaiah Stewart. So, and look, Marvin Bagley had 14 points and Jalen Duren only had 4. But Jalen Duren was by far the better basketball player tonight. It's not just about points. Doesn't matter. He had 7 rebounds, 4 offensive, 3 defensive. He was just better. He played better basketball tonight. He made the right pass over and over. He made the right play. He played hard in the glass, played hard on Jokic, set better screens. Like all that stuff comes into play. And Duren just does it better. So Casey said he looks at him as a starter. Why wait? We know he's the center of the future. Everyone knows this. If he wasn't playing up to the standard and if he was struggling as the youngest player in the NBA, I'd completely understand him. He's the youngest guy in the NBA. That would make sense. So if you didn't want to start him because of that and he was struggling, okay, then obviously you'll start him. But he's risen up to the occasion. He's played well. And out of your own mouth, you've said that he looks like a starter. So start him. Just start him. Because watching Marvin Bagley try to go out there and play center just ain't it. It ain't it. And you're asking everybody else out there to do things they can't do either, which is rebound. Thankfully, Bojan was able to do that tonight. But, I mean, that's not something you're going to get every night. It's not going to happen all the time. So that's what they got to do. I think they got to start Jalen Duren. Just as simple as that. I don't think many people would disagree with that either. So, but if you do disagree, let me know in the comment section down below or over on Twitter @KukaHill. When we come back, I want to talk about the bench a little bit and specifically Kevin Knox, who played extremely well in this game, very well, and I think he deserves to continue to get minutes. I'm really happy Dwane Casey rewarded him with the closing minutes. I want to talk more about that when we come back. But first, I got to tell you guys about what one of our sponsors, BetOnline.net. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there. From football to basketball to soccer to esports, we've got it all at BetOnline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline as well. They're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about their trends and action today. And you head over to the basketball section at BetOnline.net. You'll see that they got the favorites for the championship, MVP, Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, Most Improved Player of the Year, who you think will get the top pick in the draft, worst record in the NBA. All that stuff you can see over at the BetOnline.net basketball tab. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about their trends and action today. BetOnline, where the game starts. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. So there's no hiding the fact that the Detroit Pistons were really in this game, and we're really, I don't want to say, maybe led is the wrong word, but the bench played a very big piece in this win. Specifically, Alec Burks and Kevin Knox. Now, Alec Burks has been just a great addition to this team since he came back from being injured. He's made all the world of difference. There's a few, like Killian Hayes had 9 points and 9 assists tonight, and a lot of those assists were to Alec Burks, who he was just hitting on kickouts when guys are, on the nail, which is when you're helping, like a guy drives and the guy's kind of playing help defense. He swipes down at the driver. He's right next to him where he's trying to cut off the driving lane. Killian Hayes, as soon as he sees that, he's immediately swinging at Alec Burks. And Alec Burks is the only player on the team who is able to hit those consistently. And now all of a sudden you're seeing dudes' assist numbers go higher. You're seeing Killian Hayes' assist numbers go higher. So Alec Burks has meant the world of difference for this team as a shot maker, a shot creator, a spacer. He's just been really, really good for this team. 21.7 and 13 from the field. He's been really good. He's scoring a point per minute. 21 points in 21 points in 21 minutes. That's crazy. But then also Kevin Knox, who we talked about in the last episode as someone who was hustling on the glass, playing fine defense, and hitting outside shots. And if he's doing that, he had to play again. Well, they gave him another chance out here against the Denver Nuggets. And guess what he did? Oh, he was only second on the team in rebounding. He had 8 rebounds, more rebounds than both your centers. He was out there hustling. He was out there battling, playing hard, getting physical on the glass. And Kevin Knox isn't some big, strong dude. He's lengthy, he's athletic, but he's not some big, powerful dude that people are scared of. But he's out there putting his body on the line. He knows this team needs rebounding. He knows if he rebounds, he's going to continue to get minutes. And he did that. And I absolutely love that. I love the fact when dudes know that their team is missing something and someone has to step up and make up for it, and they decide they are the ones. It reminds me back when the Pistons first traded Andre Drummond, and Dwane Casey said during the All-Star break that, with Andre gone, we're going to need somebody to help out on the glass now because he was swallowing up 18 himself. So we need someone to help out and try and make up for that difference. And then immediately after the All-Star break, Bruce Brown had 5 straight games of double-digit rebound games. I absolutely love seeing that from Bruce. It reminds me of that. But Kevin Knox, I just have a lot of respect for dudes who do that because not everyone on the team's doing it. Now, we just talked about in the last podcast how pissed we were about how guys weren't doing it in the last game, in all the games so far this year. Now, it wasn't just Knox who did it tonight, thankfully. Bojan got on the glass, and so did Jaden Ivey. But if Kevin Knox is going to continue to do that, that's another reason why he has to continue to play. But also, he went 8 of 11 from the field. He only shot 1 of 4 from deep. 7 of his makes were all 2-pointers in the fast break, running the floor really well, finishing around the basket, dunking the ball, being in the right place at the right time. He just played really good basketball tonight. He was a really good bench piece for the Pistons. And I tweeted it out in the fourth quarter. I said that I think that Dwane Casey should reward Kevin Knox with all the closing minutes in the fourth quarter because he was better than Isaiah Livers tonight. And with the way he was playing, with how hard he was playing, he deserved those minutes. I'm a big guy, and I guess I should have finished that sentence. I'm not a big guy. I'm 5'9", but I'm a big believer in that. I'm a big believer that if you want to take minutes away from a guy when he doesn't deserve them, fine. But when he does do things well and he's playing really well, you reward them with more and more minutes. You have to encourage them, that let them know that what they're doing is right, and if they do play this way, you get rewarded for it. And he did that with Kevin Knox. I was a really big fan of that decision by Dwane Casey. Now, the other decision that we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, I may not have done it. That's a little bit questionable. I get it, but it's a little questionable. The Kevin Knox decision to close with him, absolutely fantastic decision. And it's going to do – I know it has Kevin Knox feeling really confident, feeling really good about himself. And I wouldn't be shocked if this translates to him playing really well in the future for the next few games. Basketball has a lot to do with confidence, man. You got to believe in yourself. You got to feel like that your teammates believe in you, and you got to feel like that your coach believes in you. Sports in general, not just basketball, but sports, you have to have a lot of confidence in yourself. And when you get rewarded like that by your coach and your teammates are supporting you out there, they're jumping up and down every time you score, they're really happy for you. I'm telling you, that does a lot for somebody, and that does a lot for their morale and their confidence. So I think Kevin Knox should continue to get minutes. I think he'll continue to play well for the Pistons. Whether he's making outside shots consistently, we don't know. But as long as he's continuing to play hard on defense, continue to play hard in the glass, and run the floor like he is. We talked about that in the offseason, that he is an athletic, long guy at the wing position. They don't have any of those on the Pistons. So if he can hustle on defense, play hard on that end, run the floor and hit outside shots, he has to play. So as long as he's doing that, like I said, he has to play. And I'm happy he got 25 minutes tonight. Really happy for him. He played more minutes than Marvin Bagley, Isaiah Livers, same minutes as Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren, more minutes than Corey Joseph, Alec Burks, and Hamidou Diallo. So, and he absolutely deserved every single minute of it. Every single minute. So happy for Kevin Knox, man. He hadn't been having a good year for the Pistons. He didn't get many chances, but in the chances he did get, it wasn't going well for him. But he's earning it the last few games, and I'm really happy for him. He was a plus 12 tonight for the Detroit Pistons. Him, Hamidou Diallo, and Jalen Duren led the team in plus minus at plus 14 and plus 12 between them. So really nice game for them. Nice win by the Detroit Pistons. They snapped their losing streak. It's their first road win of the season. It was big because, I mean, just looking at the schedule, I don't know where a win was going to come from. And no one thought the win was going to come from the Denver Nuggets game. So maybe we see another game that we don't think they have a chance at winning, and all of a sudden they win that one too. Maybe that happens, but maybe that's also just wishful thinking. Be happy about this win. Celebrate it. Be happy about it. Because, again, I don't know when the next one's going to come. That's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, hit that YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Best way to support the podcast. Leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on is another great way to support the podcast. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. The Pistons play again tonight. I forget who they play. I do not have the schedule right in front of me. I know they play again. Oh, the Utah Jazz. They play the Utah Jazz tonight at 9 o'clock. Get ready. Back-to-back on the Western road trip. I think that's going to be a tough one, but we'll see what happens. Maybe the young guys, Jaden Ivey and Killian Hayes, come out with a vengeance tonight because they're mad about how they got benched in the closing minutes. For what's worth, I can't end the podcast without doing this. I didn't think Killian Hayes played bad at all. He had 9 points, 9 assists. I liked every single shot that he took. I thought he played fair. He had a few turnovers down the stretch, obviously, and he got benched because of it, but it is what it is. You guys know I can't end the podcast without talking about my guy, Killian Hayes, at least once. But anyways, that's all I've got for you guys today. Have fun tonight during the game. Go Pistons. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.